Hello, welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Amit. It's a big day. First day.
Yep.
Bramayugam at the theaters. Finally,
Yep.
after all this beautiful promotion and all these great posters and insane, beautiful trailers and intrigue, we finally get to know all the secrets. It's finally out.
Yeah. Very cool.
Both of us saw it. Now we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to do a non-spoiler review. And then if you want to know more, or if you have already seen Amit and you want to see what we had to say on this, because we're going to talk a lot about the tech and the look of it and everything else, watch both is what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we are. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to hold it back. This movie was just amazing. Like, I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. Like, obviously coming in, I was a little bit, despite, all the hype and everything, like I had high expectations for it just based off what I had seen. But there was a bit of apprehension, just like, okay, the black and white worked well for a trailer. Is it going to translate well for an entire movie?
Yeah, true.
It added to this movie for me for so many reasons. Like, it really made it really good. I mean, there was, and we'll get into that more in terms of like, what it all meant. But just my initial feelings was just like, it worked on so many levels because, like, one, obviously it gave it a unique look and it makes it, the timeless kind of look it works. But for me, it did some of the things. The black and white thing was basically like, I think what they did was, so one, it gives you that feeling that it's from like a gothic horror. That's the word I kept getting, gothic horror, because that's what
very
this
gothic.
basically is. Like, it has all the quintessential traits to it. Like, there was talks about a rumor that it's going to be based off Dracula. Like, I'd heard it's not a remake of Dracula, but there's so many, like, I guess, similarities.
I would say inspired by, for sure.
Yeah,
this movie was very much inspired by Hollywood movies, old Hollywood horror. This movie was Hollywood horror all over it, and the music was the same. The credits, the kind of flickering firelight with the kind of old school lettering in the credits looked like I was watching an old movie from like the 50s. Or I loved that. I felt right at home watching this. Very accessible. I thought the look of everyone was very retro. Like, they all had a very old movie look. Really beautiful. Like, that was so consistently great. There was definitely a huge inspiration from old Hollywood, to say.
Yeah. I mean, the first Dracula movie came out in 1931, and you've seen that one. It's completely black and white. Think of like the Addams Family, like, black and white, like those kind of, that it had that kind of vibe. Obviously, the Addams Family is a different piece altogether.
Addams Family TV show,
but in terms of but in terms of like the look of it, it was resembling that kind of feel to me. So I love that. I don't know if it's a homage to that sort of genre or a throwback to that. It was first time I'd seen Indian movie sort of do that, and it was fantastic. Yeah, you're right, with the music, with the cinematics and everything like that.
It was very orchestral, just so beautiful and never overwhelming. Like, that was a lot of times movies really push the music hard. Like, you feel like you're being cued by the music. It was more like almost integral to the film. Like, it was sort of softer in the background, but you were kind of like, you could feel it creeping up on you, but it was never like that. There was no jump scares. This was pure slow burn horror, and I loved it.
Yeah,
like, so elegant and just taking its time and just creepy. And I feel like I kept seeing things like, was that something behind him? Like, I just feel like there was stuff to look at in every scene. It was never just a wasted effort on any moment. Everything, there's a lot going on in everything. I thought the firelight on everything, it was beautifully the way it kind of shimmered around them all the time. Lighting was, that guy deserves a raise. Whoever did that, it was gorgeous.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Good. So it's definitely worked. And the whole, I think, the whole concept, and we might get into this more in the second half, but we sort of saw it referenced, how they talked about Kali Yugam, and this is the age of Bramayugam, which is the new age. So I don't know, maybe I read into too much or something like that, but I felt like by him implying that, just like having it black and white makes it feel like it's of a different time period, of a different sort of space, I guess. So I guess that black and white really helped to enforce that fact too. Like, we're in a different period of time. Like, we're past, if you look at the yugas, like, we're not in that, the previous Yuga, or we're not moved on to the golden Yuga period. We're on this whole different thing called Brahma Yugam. So they've done that visually to the landscape, and like, everything's black and white. So it served a purpose, because halfway through the movie, I was wondering, like, okay, this is black and white, but could they just have not done this in black and white? Is this just a gimmick at this point? Like, what's the reason behind it? So I had to sort of in the cinema battle with myself and be like,
right.
what's the purpose for this? But then as I thought about it more, I was like, wait, there's a reason for this, and it is working. It's working on different levels.
Yes.
Like and that's what I really appreciated about it. So if you guys are hesitant to watch this movie because of the black and white, don't. It really, it really doesn't. After about 5 minutes, you don't even start to notice it anymore. You just
you don't even notice you're watching black and white, except to go, wow, this looks amazing. That's the whole time. I was just looking at that.
Like in the earlier scenes, like when they had with the river, like, oh my god, you can't like
him walking
the
across
water,
the rocks and the waterfall.
What
was that?
Mind blowing.
Crazy.
That was something else. So yeah, exactly. And you can't get that. Like how many like Malayalam cinema does such a good job of showcasing the landscape that from movies I've seen, they do a fantastic job of, they have a beautiful, landscape in Kerala and they show it off in so many movies. But to do it in black and white just gives you a different perspective on this again. So just good on them for doing this.
Yes, the commitment to using the black and white to not only give you the kind of almost timeless antique feel to it, it also, I think, helped create a better mood of the kind of like kind of not overplayed horror, but the sort of elegant, low key, everything's kind of grimy. And there's this, everything kind of sort of disappears into almost like a pattern of the black and white and the gray. So you're not like, they're not having to worry about this bright spot there and the blue there and the purple there. It's like they were able to like really just make the actors just lit and stand out from this gray background and the light sparkling in their eye. And that's all you really noticed. You weren't worried about the color. I just thought that anyone would conceive of this. I would love to hear the director talk more about this. You conceive of this movie and you go, it's gonna be black and white, and then you're like, well, filming it going, was this a mistake? But no, this guy felt like, nope, it's black and white. It can only be done in black and white, and we're not even gonna worry about it. And I love that it seemed like there was no hesitation, and they made full use of this gorgeous black and white photography. I mean, they definitely played it up so good.
They definitely did.
So there was
a lot of credit for that has to go to we should probably mention Rahul Sadasivan.
Yes, let's mention
Sadasivan, the director, because I think he's basically knocked it out now with 2 horror movies from the Malayalam film industry, which is just, honestly, he's on a roll here with the first one being obviously Bhuta Kalam, which we had both seen, and that was a fantastic horror movie, more like
so emotional,
more like a thriller, psychological horror, but
horror.
But definitely more at the heart of things. This definitely had I guess this was more in the fantastical space, if you want to put it like that, because they had some external forces come in, something outside of what we have in our reality with the whole concept of
there was a supernatural for sure. Like we had the supernatural kind of folk horror. It felt kind of primitive because they were out in the middle of the woods, and that's why I like that too. They're out in the woods where this mansion was, and it was a contained thriller. Like that's it. It stayed small and tight. Just this one, place. They kind of walked outside sometimes, but it was very contained. And I love that too, where you always knew where everyone was. They did a great job of laying out the property and where you were in the mansion, so you knew where people were going. Even though the whole point of this also was to be confused and like, where are they? There's a point where they get lost in the mansion. Like insane special effects, like beautiful, really well done. Like where the walls are changing and there's all kind of crazy stuff. It's like so well done. Like the tech was really good. You did not see any seams. Whatever was happening felt real and grounded.
That's another point that I would agree. It was that's another concern I had going in, because like I have not seen too many horrors from the Malayalam film industry, but I had seen one called Kumari, which I did like a lot, but it kind of was ruined by the fact that at the end, like the costume design and the special effects were not really on point, and it made me it kind of took me out of the movie, because I was like, this looks so artificial and so fake. The story, the premise, everything, the writing was great, but that particular scene at the end, I really couldn't suspend my disbelief at that point. Like it got too much. Like I was like, it's not scary, unfortunately. But this movie, on the other hand, if you guys are worried about that aspect, no need to worry. I thought like how they did the horror in this movie was just, oh my god, like it's so good. Like I can legitimately say this is a horror movie. Like there are parts of this movie that that tie into horror. Like a couple scenes that did scare me, especially around Mammootty's character and some of the stuff happening inside the mansion. Oh boy, it was.
And I think part of it too is the violence felt very grounded. Like there's an insane like kind of knife fight that was just like. You just were feeling like whoa, like it was like whoa, God, it's just like terrifying. And I think when you have a kind of folky, low key, trapped in a room basically with some people, and there's a cat and mouse, and like you don't know who to trust. Like, Mammootty's character was clearly like not playing it straight. Like he was like, what is you assume he's evil. We'll just say that. But then the two other guys who were trapped there, they didn't know if they could trust each other either. Like nobody trusted anybody in this movie. So I love that whole idea of like, who do you trust? What do you do? Where are you going? How are you going to get out of this? And then the creepiness of like this chain that was attached to something that you never really saw. Like all of that was just, so there's a lot of like slow burn little things, but then when the horror happens, you're like, whoa, what? What's happening? So I took a little notes and it was like, whoa, what is holy shit? My notes are like, holy shit, what's happening? So it's like, I was very impressed. I could easily see this a bunch more times because I feel like I know there were stuff in little corners and shadows that I didn't notice, and the performances were so good. I mean, of course you're riveted by Mammootty because he's so dominating as always, and he's so great. But the other two guys were great too, because the one guy, they
were fantastic.
We have the main actor who comes into the scene. His name is, what's that guy? The main guy's name. Where is? Arjun Ashokan.
Yeah, Arjun Ashokan. Yeah.
He had this innocence. He just seemed overwhelmed. He seemed like a nice guy. He just had this sort of, and he would sing these beautiful songs. He just seemed like an angel, right? And then we have the the cook. And he, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I should have written those. Sidharth Bharathan.
Yep.
I loved him because he looked full on from the 40s. So that guy was so retro looking. I was like, every time they showed a scene of him, I'm like, I'm watching some old gangster movie right now. But I thought he was great too, because he seemed like the all-knowing, oh yeah, I've been doing this a million times. He goes and he makes all the food. He seems kind of like used to the abusive relationship he's having with Mammootty, which is basically what it was. So you see the beaten down, but just such a great little triangle of power, so well done and executed. Love this movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, the movie is a lot. It's actually a lot about power.
But a lot about power.
Controls of power. But yeah, no, in terms of performances, like I have to, Mammootty's going to get a lot of the praise here because he's fantastic. But yeah, Arjun Ashokan and Sidharth Bharathan, like my god, they were so good in this movie. Like, I mean, Arjun Ashokan really is kind of like a breakout role for me, I think, because like I had seen him in other things like Ramakrishnan, and he was great in that. But like, that's sort of a comedy, and he kind of came in like the second half. He wasn't really like that movie had such an ensemble cast.
He did. Like, that's right.
He had such an ensemble cast, so no one really took the reins of it. But this movie, my god, there's only like 3 real characters in this movie. There's a couple others to the side, but
minimal.
They have maybe, I don't know, combined of 5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. And they're just basically a tool of what everyone else is doing. They're just sort of there as part of an extension here and there. But agree.
Yeah, but Arjun Ashokan, like I was seriously impressed by him because like he played to his strength. Like he does have that sort of innocence, like that he portrays in all kinds of movies. I've even seen him in other movies where he's kind of plays that same innocent like kind of role.
Nice
but in this movie, like I think they really use it to like his advantage, because like it's like, hey, you can do this really well, and we're going to put you as somebody that's going to be basically suppressed and oppressed by Mammootty's character, and Mammootty does that so well. And on the other hand, like Sidharth Bharathan, I thought he was fantastic because he's kind of like, he is driven, like without giving away, he's driven by something which there's a reason why he's there. Actually, there's a reason why both of them are there, and they're a little bit different. But he himself is like really like, he's kind of like, he doesn't have the innocence because he's been there so long and he's been beaten down by what's gone on with him and other external factors, which we'll get into with that. I can't say without spoiling.
But we'll talk about the stuff in the spoiler review.
He's there for a reason, and him just being sort of more hard-edged and driven by, I guess, something else was really good. And the whole dynamic between the 3 of them works so well. Like, they work so well together. The chemistry was so good. There's a lot to like about this performances. You can just honestly go and just watch this for that. Like, it's captivating to watch these 3. Like Arjun Ashokan, some of the scenes when he's just like in the hallways by himself with the around, like
exploring, like what?
I mean, the horror, like that's the thing that makes this so good in terms of the horror, because like it's a small setting, it's claustrophobic, and you only have a few characters that you follow, so you're on this journey with those characters. So whatever they're feeling, you're kind of feeling, and it's kind of duplicating itself or reflecting. So
We're not going to spoil it. You can go to Amit's channel for the spoiler review, but I will say it was beautifully crafted, beautifully acted, beautifully directed. This is a beautiful slow burn horror movie. I don't think there's any reason why your kids can't watch it.
No,
I'll just say if you're worried about that, but it's a very classy indie feeling, really just the kind of movie you really want to support. Like these are the kind of movies I want to shout from rooftops because I feel like they'll be misunderstood. People don't want the black and white. They'll feel like it doesn't have the big crazy action, the big chainsaws, and it's like this is a great, creepy, beautiful, deeper than you think horror movie. So highly recommend. Yes. Definitely go see this. Amit and I did posters, and we'd done them. We were waiting for the movie to start, and it's like number 1. It was the countdown stopped at 2, and we just couldn't wait. So now we have 1 now.
Oh,
day
wow,
1 is here.
Perfect. Oh,
so we have the day.
That's
really cool
because that's a very integral part of the movie.
Now that I've seen the movie, I know what all this stuff means. So it's very, very well done. And then they also, because they just couldn't stop there, they have a Valentine poster.
Oh, wow.
Aw, it's romantic.
That's unexpected.
I know. Didn't expect that. That was a pretty creepy scene. This whole thing was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, it was a great scene. And then one more. Boom. Today, the countdown is over. He's here.
Oh, man. They really put a lot of money into this posters.
So much money, so much great stuff
I have ever seen in my life for any movie. Like, this is ridiculous.
I know. And then the bizarreness of me seeing the thumbnail for the movie at the movie theater, and it's in color. Why would they post a color poster? Like, and I want to show that too because it's so wrong.
It's almost like false advertising.
It's false advertising, and also it's like it's just, let me show you this. You're just gonna laugh because it's so wrong. Okay, and I don't mean to give the person who made this any shit, but
fan made.
No, it wasn't. Sometimes digital does their own thing sometimes, and they any kind of digital thing. So who's the jacked guy exactly? No one in the movie looks like this. Not a single person looks like this jack guy in the front. So I'm just saying, what the hell? So I don't know what this is, but this is the poster we have for this beautiful film. This beautiful film for my movie theaters. There you go. You're welcome, America.
That's strange.
Oh my God. All right. So I will talk to you guys later. Be sure and catch our spoiler review, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.